This is the Potensic Atom 2. This is under 250 gram drone, and it is a really cheap alternative for the lightweight under the 250 gram mark drone. I wanted to see how good this actually can be. So while Potensic did send out this drone for me to test out, they have no say in this video and all the thoughts about it are my own. And while I usually fly with much more expensive drones and much bigger drones, I wanted to see how good a drone at this price range can be. Because on paper, it has pretty nice specs. So how good the Atom 2 is actually. So first thing is, it actually is a certified C0 category drone. As you can see on the bottom, it has the C0 category. It is under 250 grams, meaning that it's really good for casual flyers that want to start with the drones and want something that is cheaper, maybe try out if they like flying with the drones, but also want something that can be flown in much more occasions with as little input in terms of regulations or even having the licenses. So this is like a perfect starting drone because of that, and it is licensed as a C0 drone, meaning that you can fly in many more places that normally you would be able to if you had a bigger drone or a heavier drone. On paper, it's a 10-kilometer range. I personally haven't tested out, and I will probably not test it out because it's a little bit out of the range that you would probably use it legally. But from what I can say, even in a city, I had no problems with the video feed, never really had any cutouts. It was a really nice strong signal. Even though I didn't fly too far away, it still felt like the signal was crystal clear. So it's really good in that regard. I can definitely say that even flying in a city, it was definitely really good. This has a 8K photo capable camera, which on the front it says it's f1.8. The photos from this drone in the more raw formats, it isn't as accessible at the moment as all the different softwares. Some of them just don't have the capabilities to read that format. So I'm mostly gonna say about it as the JPEGs that I have from it. And I would say for a drone of this price, they definitely looked really good. They definitely looked really good, and it was something that we talked about with Evie when testing this out. This drone is pretty much as good, if not better, than a pro drones that we had back in the days. It was much bigger, much heavier, and this is better and much cheaper. So we kind of have it now that even these drones are really capable in terms of their camera, the performance. So the camera, while it being a really small camera, it's on a 3-axis gimbal here. It really works nicely, I would say. No problems with that, no problems with the gimbal. The photos turned out really nice, especially for this price of a drone and this small of a drone, lightweight, and it really feels like a toy in hand. This is how lightweight it is. I also shot some panoramas, both in vertical and like the whole big panorama. It didn't seem to have any problems with it. It was pretty much as expected from a drone that it would be even more expensive than this, so there was no problem with that. And the end result, the stitching was really nice. Fun fact, one of the photos that I did for the stitching, so I think the vertical or the wide, one of them actually had a tram going underneath, and I thought it's gonna actually cut it wrong, that there's gonna be tram in two places or cut somewhere else. It was actually really good. It cut it perfectly, made it into one position. So in my opinion, I was pretty pleasantly surprised with how this turned out. So photo-wise, it's pretty good, but if you're looking for more flexibility in post with raw capabilities, you might have to wait a little bit more for the updates to the software and the softwares that you work with. And then we come to the video part, which is probably the most important part about the drone, which is the 4K videos that we have on the front and overall in the pages about the specs. So essentially you can shoot in 4K up to 30 frames per second, and you can shoot in 4K 30 frames per second in HDR. So while there is no log format at the moment, from what I know, the log format is supposed to be available on the drone in the future with an update. So for now, I was not able to test the log format for this drone. I was only able to fly in normal and the HDR. And both of them are really good, and while some will prefer one over the other, I felt like both of them perform really good. And like I said before many times, it just felt like it is punching way above its price, but is in 4K 30 frames per second. So if you're looking for 60 frames per second in 4K, this is definitely not the one to go. But at this price, I can't really say that I think it should have it, because it has 4K 30 frames per second in HDR at this price, at this capabilities. I am more than happy. You can actually get into full HD 60 frames per second if you really need the 60 frames per second, and you can also shoot in a more like a squarish, if I remember correctly, is a 4:3 aspect ratio. Thanks to this, it's perfect for social media. You can actually turn it into a vertical or a horizontal footage, and that means you can have one footage for all social medias. But in 4K 30 frames per second, it auto defaults to the 16:9. So it depends on what kind of usage you want to do, but you have that flexibility. Overall, that just makes it much better for beginners. If you want to have a drone that is for many things, both for Instagram, for YouTube, something that is lightweight that you can use in any scenario pretty much, this is definitely a great drone to get. We even tested out the AI follow feature, and while on humans it worked perfectly fine. Even in a scenario where Evie was riding by, there were people riding on the bikes, I actually pushed the sticks back so it was getting farther and farther, and it made a really nice, beautiful footage. So overall, I was really nicely surprised with the AI follow mode. The only problem I had with the AI follow mode was when I was actually trying to follow a boat, and for some reason it would get lost with it. If it was just the sound bouncing of the water, if the boat was irregular, whatever, it would pretty much lose it after a couple of seconds for whatever reason. But for human subjects, or maybe something that is more obvious, it works perfectly fine. And overall, the video footage actually looks really good. I feel like it's really usable for social media, YouTube, Instagram, and that kind of stuff. It's definitely a great drone for that, especially since the price makes it a really great beginner drone. There's also an AI night photo mode enabled on this drone. Everything that goes about this drone, if you look at the price, is just so much better than the price suggests. And as for controlling it, this is the controller. So you put your phone inside of it here. This is like almost like a gaming controller. You can have the cable in here, put your phone in the middle. You have the sticks on the back where you can hide them, put them, screw them on. This is the antenna which you can fold up and down. And overall, it feels like a great gaming controller. Essentially, it feels like a mobile gaming controller. I actually really love the design that the phone is here, because it just makes it a little bit more intuitive. I just feel like it's better because it's between the two controllers. Just makes everything just, I don't know, it just feels a little bit more intuitive than having it somewhere else. And overall, the grips and everything just feel like really, really good. Like I said, it feels kind of like a gaming controller, and I really like it. I really feel like the controller is well made, works really good, and just overall the characteristics of it are really nice. And in the combo, you can actually get with the 3 batteries and the charging hub, so you just put it in here and you have 3 batteries ready to go whenever you want to fly. And to be honest, they're really small. Like, as you can see, they're tiny, but they last out, I would say, pretty nice, especially for a drone at this price. I really cannot say anything bad. I feel like we're spoiled with batteries and flight times at this moment, that a couple of years ago I would just love to have even, you know, a bit of that battery, but now we have even, you know, a budget drone having such a great flight time that is incredible. And if you get the bigger combo with the batteries, you also have a nice shoulder bag that you can place everything inside of, with even the different separators here in this box. So you have a lot of things, and this is a nice way to travel with the drone. You have a USB-C on the bottom, and other than that, we also have the sensor on the bottom and the LiDAR sensor on the top in terms of safety. So you have to watch out if you're flying backwards or the sides. Also, with the controller and the controlling of the drone, you have an app that is pretty familiar. If you ever flown a drone, it's gonna feel very similar, very familiar. And with that, it just feels, you know, instant. It works perfectly fine, had no problems with connection whatsoever. And also, there is smart transfer feature, which means you can really quickly download and transfer things from the drone to your smartphone, which is really cool if you like that kind of stuff. So if you want to really quickly have the drone footage on your phone and edit that, for example, for a reel on Instagram, that is definitely an amazing connection. It works really fast, and overall the smart transfer is just made with creators. They want to create content for Instagram and YouTube, especially the short form content. This is going to be a really great feature. Overall, I'm really surprised how good of a drone it is for this price. And in my opinion, a couple of years ago, this kind of a drone would be much more expensive. So it's really nice to have that kind of quality at a pretty reasonable price, which is a budget drone in 2025. And in that regard, I can say that it definitely lives up to it. I just cannot wait to see how it works with the log format once it's available on this drone, because it's supposedly coming, but it's not here yet. But other than that, I was pleasantly surprised, and I can highly recommend if you're looking for a budget drone, this is a great option. If you have any more questions about the Atom 2, let me know in the comment section down below. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again, and I'll see you next time.